This is Beach Talk Radio.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. This is your captain speaking, Mean Gene. Mean Gene. The following will be a test of the ship's whistle, the sonar alarm, the cable alarm, and the atomic attack alarm.
Ladies and gentlemen, with the Gulf of Mexico as their backdrop, broadcasting live from the Margaritaville Resort on Fort Myers Beach, here are the hosts of the dinkiest podcast in America, Kim and Ed Ryan.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate that. Welcome to Margaritaville. We appreciate you guys coming out. The first thing I need to say is we have 3 tents here, and none of them are blocking the sun. So I don't know. We have everybody's watching from underneath the actual building, but I don't know what the problem is, dear. You had one job, that was to set up the tents so you could block the sun, and everybody's getting sunburned.
I tried to tell you we have to move back, but you didn't want to move back. You always want to be close to them, but you need to move back.
Yeah, it needs to be like an intimate setting so that we're up close.
If you move back, we can move them towards us, and then everybody's in the shade. But you think now you made them feel bad.
I didn't make anybody feel bad. They're trying to figure out something we couldn't figure out. Oh, they're lowering the tents now. Look at that. I see. All right. Very nice. So we're here at Margaritaville, License to Chill. We're not complaining about the sun because the weather is perfect. It's like 75 degrees.
No, it's warmer than that.
It's 76 and a half degrees, but the humidity is not as bad as it was a few months ago. But folks, bring some chairs over if you want. We have our own server, and it's warm, but it's
warmer than I thought.
It's not 5 degrees below zero like it is in some other places in the country.
Colder.
Right.
Yeah.
And so before we introduce our first guest, I want my wife to tell the story about her walking over the bridge today. See, she dropped off the tent because Marie's not here. And then she likes to park in the free lot because she doesn't want to pay $5 for parking. So she drives back over the bridge and then walks back over the bridge. And then what happened when you were walking this way back to the...
You have to have a little bit of context. I might sound a little congested because I don't know.
It's called malaria.
No, it's not. Don't say that. No, I finished all of my malaria medicine. I don't know if it's allergies or I got a little something. But anyways, I took an allergy pill this morning and I haven't done that in a long time. And I was like, wow, I feel so tired and so groggy. And I was walking across the parking lot at the base of the bridge and I caught my toe and I went down on all fours. So we're going to get video of that because, that's going to look I'm all
fabulous.
Scraped up. I got a bruise on my hand. So I look like I don't fall gracefully.
Let's recap, everybody. She's fallen while walking and she's fallen off the chair and I haven't fallen.
I fell off the bike a couple of times. So tomorrow's bike is going to be postponed.
No. Like 6 months anyway.
I don't think today's a good indicator.
All righty. Well, we have a great show lined up for you today, and thank you all for coming out to Margaritaville. Tomorrow's show at Wahoo Willie's will be with the vice mayor because the mayor has taken a few well-earned days off. I think he's in Jacksonville watching did the Vikings play the Jaguars this weekend? I think that they're playing up there. That's why he went up there. So don't try and text him. He's left his phone back here with his dog, so he's taking a few days off, so the vice mayor will fill in. And I warned him that you said you were going to be mean to him tomorrow for some reason. So
I don't know why.
Yeah, why did you say you were going to be mean to the vice mayor?
Why did you say that?
You did.
I did not say that. Yeah. I said someone said I was mean to Mayor Allers a couple of weeks ago.
Really?
I don't think
wow, I'll have to go back and watch the videotape of that. Our first guest today is going to be, you never know, but I'm guessing the new chairman of the new and improved Murph Committee, the Common Sense Murph Committee, Dave Nussbaum, everybody. Can we get a big hand for Dave? He's going to come on for a few minutes.
I would clap, but my hands hurt. Sorry,
because your hands would start bleeding if you clap. So Dave is a resident.
Don't let me move this on you. I'm going to hold it.
Yeah. So Dave,
you can't trust these things.
And your lovely wife live in Wisconsin and Fort Myers Beach. Right, Wisconsin, and
that's correct.
Green Bay Packer fan, and you guys, how's the condo coming on the south end, by the way?
Well, a little bit of good news. Yesterday, the pool was filled We can't use it for 30 days because the resurface has to cure. But the pool is filled. The pool deck is done. And we're just finishing painting the exterior and replacing the lanais. And then we're going to have a 50th year celebration grand opening.
Wow. And
Wow.
which condo building is that? So everybody
That
knows.
is Island Winds.
Island Winds.
Next to Gull Wing, just slightly north of Santini Plaza on the
Sweet.
beach.
All right. And Dave, you were appointed to the MRF. For folks that are watching that don't know, it's the Marine. They added a letter in there about a year ago. The Marine Environmental Resources Task Force Committee, right?
That's correct.
And you were appointed about a year ago.
Yes.
And so now we've got some turnover there. And
Well, let me just back up. What prompted you to want to join MRF?
Well,
Is that a funny? It's not a mean question, right?
It's not a mean question. Originally, I got involved in MRF back when the former town council had passed an ordinance for a 0.15 tint for the windows facing the
the
Gulf,
tint.
which was one level above welder's glass in your goggles.
Yeah. And so let me be more clear about what you're saying. There were some condos down in the South End that were redoing their windows. And then all of a sudden, this committee decided that the windows needed to be darker. And the town council back then went along with it. So people that were changing their windows had to stop and figure out how to comply with these new darker windows. Correct or incorrect?
That is correct. And there was no credence given for any of the ongoing projects. So, for example, Mariner's Boathouse, that had collected all of the money, did all the engineering, and was 1 week away from having all of their new upgraded hurricane-proof windows installed, had to scrap the project because they weren't 0.15 glass.
Yeah.
As a result, Ian came through, and you know what Ian did, and they had all the original windows in.
Yeah.
So that was an unintended consequence of making an immediate change that had an impact all along the beachfront condominiums on this island.
Yeah.
Which prompted us in a mass plus condominium presidents and representatives to take our 3 minutes in front of the town council, which ate up about an hour's worth of time, and each president or representative expressed their displeasure at the new law.
Yeah.
And eventually it got rolled back. But that was kind of the impetus answering your question, Kim, as to why I wanted to get involved with the MRF committee, because with a few small tweaks on that ordinance, and I testified in front of MRF at public comment, we could have avoided a lot of millions of dollars of losses and still accomplish the same thing. There's testing going on right now, and it turns out that some of the testing indicates that a 0.3 tint is effective in eliminating or greatly reducing disorientation of the turtles, which is a great compromise because the 0.3 glass is what we've been working on for the last 10 years at Island Winds.
All right. So you're on the MRF committee. They're not going to meet this month because they need some stuff they need to figure out with the voting, so that you'll meet next month. And chances are you're going to be the chairman of the MRF committee, right?
No one runs to be chairman. You're elected by the participants.
You didn't run for anything, dude. You were appointed. What are you talking about? I mean, you're like Mr. Seniority now, you and Bill Altoff, right?
Well, no, there are some
Oh,
members
that's right.
that have more seniority.
Would you like to be chairman?
If elected, I will serve.
Yes. Okay. There you go. So that's not really why you're here. Why are you here, Dave? I invited you on yesterday. Why are you here?
He's already forgotten.
Well, I am here because of the recent editorial that occurred in the Beach Observer, and they implied in the Beach Observer that the current town council had turned their back to environmental issues.
Yes. Now, hold on a second. Now, of course, I have to interject just because not everybody knows.
So unlike you.
Right. Not everybody knows. The Beach Observer is a newspaper. Most people don't read a newspaper anymore. That's a weekly newspaper that comes out on the beach every Wednesday, which has been in the back pocket of the Murph Committee since the last 4 years. They whatever the Murph Committee back then wanted, they would publish, or the Murph Committee members would write the articles and they would put it in and put their name on it. And so now that it has changed over and the radical Murph Committee members are no longer there, and there are common sense Murph committees on the committee, they wrote an editorial that said the entire town of Fort Myers Beach Town Council has turned their back on the environment. Is that an accurate depiction of what happened? That might be
a little, but yes,
right, there's. I've not been known to embellish things.
I think the reason that they wrote the article was there were a lot of long-standing Murph committee members that were on there, and I believe in my heart that the council wanted to look at a little more balanced Murph committee where people were looking at solutions, not just dictating this is what should be done to the council.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the whole reason that I ran, and Bill Altoff and many of the others were trying to find a balance between the people that live on this island, and we're a very well-developed island, and nature, because we share the beach with nature and everyone else in it. So you can't just have the pendulum swing one way and you can't have it swing the other. You have to be in the middle and try and find solutions. And a very good example, we were the first turtle compliant condo on the south end of Fort Myers Beach. We completely put in amber turtle compliant lighting. Now the amber lights give off less light. The solution to that is you have to put in more turtle lights, but it costs more money.
Yeah.
There's a trade-off there. So basically,
all right,
that's the solutions we're trying to reach.
I was
Why are you
laughing.
laughing?
I'm not laughing at him. I was laughing at his depiction of the pendulum swinging. And I wanted to say, have you been in America lately? I would love you to find the middle of the road, but we're not going to go there.
Can I just say one thing about that, dear, now that you brought it up?
I wish
to
I
watch
hadn't opened
people
this can of
I don't want to talk
worms.
about national politics. I'm never going to say anything about, well, maybe that you might look at it this way because people get insane. But to watch people unravel the last few days has been quite fun to watch, I have to say.
That's
I mean,
not right.
to see
That's
people
not right.
cry on, like to see Jimmy Kimmel cry on TV, when you get yourself that involved in
But
a
on
political
either
candidate
side,
ever,
either
it's
side.
just absurd. Like, if for all these people that say they're going to leave the United States now, I want to see video of you crossing the border. I want to see you go to Canada. I want to see you go to Mexico. Don't say you're going to do that and not do it. You're so full of shit when you say stuff like that, because you know this is the greatest country in the world.
All right. Well, we're going to move on.
Stop. I'm just saying.
See, they're clapping
I know, but
for
to
you
watch,
to be quiet.
So I don't get that involved in national politics because
Really?
it really doesn't impact.
Really?
We were talking about this the other night. It really doesn't impact that much. If you think a president is going to impact your life that much, you're insane. It doesn't really impact your life that much. It's a popularity contest. You want your person to win. And then when you cry when your person loses, I'm like, oh my God. Like, it's insane. You know what I'm saying, Dave? Who'd you vote for?
Oh, we're not getting into
I voted for the
that.
best candidate on the ballot.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, it's safe to say. I think it's safe. We're in safe country.
So
here.
you would say now that the Murph Committee is now finding its way to a middle ground.
I think that we have to look at a lot of issues. Right now, we're studying resiliency and what we can do to protect the island. I think that's one of the biggest charges in front of us right now. There were a lot of people that did not want hard surface retaining walls. But one of the professors that came in said, yes, actually, they do a good job in protecting the island, as do berms and buffers and everything else. So I think our goal right now, our number one goal, is to find the best suited resilience for everywhere on the island, and not every place on the island needs the same solution, and that's the balance we have to look for.
All right. So lastly, you wanted to come on because you wanted to rebut the editorial that nobody's read, but so go ahead.
Well, again, all I'm saying is I disagree with the.
There you go, dear.
I was waiting until we were done, but I disagree with the editorial in that I believe the town council is very firmly committed to the environmental issues on this island. They continue to move forward, and
100%.
I totally disagree with the conclusions drawn by the editorial, and I sent them a letter, and I hope they post it in the letters to the editor.
You sent a letter to the editor. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say you sent a letter to the town council, because
He did.
everybody knows, right, that if you send something to the town council,
It's public.
it's public.
There's no such
So
thing as
it
a
can
private
be
email to a
publicly
public official.
Well, and
requested.
I did copy the town council
Okay.
as well,
Yeah.
letting them know that I'm here to serve them, and that at any time they want me to step down, I'm more than happy to.
Florida, another reason I love Florida is the most open, like transparent state in the union. Like everything is, if I make a request for anything that that Dan or Jim or anybody has on their phone, their personal phone, that has to do with town business, the city clerk, who is the keeper of the documents, has to request everything on their personal phone. That's how deep it gets into this state wants government to be transparent. And so there's no private emails that can be sent to the town council or the town manager. There's no such thing.
Or
None.
to you.
Or to me, if it has something to do with they can't, nobody can request my phone. I'm not an elected official, but any emails that I send to them become public. That's
Right.
total public.
And same with the committee people.
Yeah.
We can't meet on the side. We have to conduct
Right.
our meetings. And we had a very lengthy primer from the town attorney instructing us as to what we could and
So
could not do.
I would like to nominate you as the chairman of the Murph Committee. Can I have a second to that nomination? Yeah. Oh, look at you. Yeah. So we will carry the Murph Committee lives.
Yeah.
Anything else, Dave? What are the Packers now? 7-2, 6-1?
Word. I don't looked at it since we
Well,
lost.
thank
the
you for
last
your
game.
quarterback, because we're 2-6 now. Dave Nussbaum, everybody. Appreciate you coming on,
Thank
Dave.
you
Thank you
very
very
much.
much.
Thank you.
All right,
Watch
before we
all the chords,
Yeah.
Dave.
Go ahead, Dave. Before we get to our next guest, I want to tell you real quick about Annie Meehan. Everybody knows Annie. She lives on Fort Myers Beach, and she's a motivational speaker. She's an author with 9 books, one which is inspired by staying and surviving Hurricane Ian, which is a great gift for the holidays, everybody. This past June, Annie won an international award. She's the founder of P3, Pineapples Packages Make Pain plus Passion Equal Purpose. Yeah, man. With pineapples on top of that. That's 4 P's, Annie. She's the keynote speaker and mental wellness communication expert. Go to AnnieMeehan.com, AnnieMeehan.com. Thank you, Annie, for being a sponsor of the show. Our next guests are from Homebound, everybody, and we are talking about the rebuild of Fort Myers Beach over and over and over again. And Ernie and Lindsay from Homebound are here, and we want to tell you what they're doing on Fort Myers Beach. John McLean from the LPA is coming up. And welcome, a big round of applause to Lindsay and Ernie from Homebound.
Hi.
How are you guys doing?
It's actually Vito today. We don't have Ernie.
You changed it on me without
did.
telling me.
I'm sorry.
So tell us who you guys
can never
are.
get the names
Well, will you
right.
stop
I know,
pushing
but
me?
You're taking up all the space.
No, because you don't want my warts to touch you.
I don't.
So a couple weekends ago, when we
disgusting.
went to the pool party at Margaritaville, I sat at the bar and I scraped my knee against the wall, and
No one wants
I
to
thought the
hear
wart was
this.
going to come completely off, but it was nothing but a bloodbath right there. So, I didn't mean to throw that in there, but Lindsay,
Hi.
what do you do for Homebound?
Good luck following that.
Right.
Man,
Thank
you
you
got
for that lead
cool
in.
glasses.
That
How
was
much are those
beautiful.
sunglasses
You know,
cost?
when you get a prescription pair, these are free.
No kidding.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'm Lindsay. I work for Homebound. I'm our account executive in Fort Myers Beach. Nice to see you all. This is Vito. Ernie is our head of construction in Florida, and Vito is the senior project manager. So if you're building with Homebound, this guy is managing your project from top to bottom. So I brought him in case you ask me any tough building questions, you know.
I don't ask anybody any tough questions.
Yeah,
ever.
never. Right. Or segue into very dicey waters in the middle of your
Yes.
podcast right after a presidential elect.
It's just a dinky podcast. Nobody really watches it. But so you guys built Debbie's home, right? That
We
was the
did.
first one on Hibiscus. And
One of
it
the
was-
first, yeah.
Yeah. So what's next in line for what you guys have planned on the beach?
Well, we're building over 26 homes right now.
Sweet.
So Debbie's home was handed over with a handful of others. I think you guys have closed out on 4 or 5. Yeah.
Oops. Try it again.
Now you're
I'm
on.
going to turn it on for you.
So how many houses? Go ahead.
So I think we have currently 17 under construction.
Mhm.
We've closed 4 or 5, and we have several more in the permitting stage.
So
And these are homes that are all built.
they're all
up.
going to be raised up. We
Yes.
Homebound doesn't do remodel or repair work. We really have to take the home from the ground up. So because it's code, everybody we build for goes straight up to the top.
Why should people consider Homebound? What's great about your homes?
Well, I'll say first and foremost, which isn't a very salesy thing to say, but we're not for everybody. We are not a completely custom builder. I would say we're a hybrid, really. We're somewhere in between that customizable home with the production build. So you're getting the pricing, the speed, and the quality that's bar none with Homebound. Actually, I would say that Homebound's quality is higher than your standard production build.
Why?
Because have any of you walked into a production grade home? Maybe some of you own them. When you walk in and they're being built, even at that base spec level, you sort of already want to upgrade a couple of things, whether it's the flooring or the countertop, right? And production build is brilliant for its own reason, but their base spec level in most production build isn't that quality. So when you come into a Homebound home and you pick our base spec level, we're already at the very tippy top of what base spec level means in production world. So, and if you walk in any Homebound home on the island, you're gonna see that quality work. You guys have showed that a couple of times when you've walked in, which I'm really proud of because I come from a long line of building and a long line of builders. So I have an acute eye for what that should look and feel like.
So when someone comes into the spec home,
Yeah,
that's what they're getting, or what can be customized within that?
right. So here's what makes us different than your other local builders in the area. Our proprietary technology is very cool. Our procurement model is really what drives our pricing, and those are awesome. But if I was local and I went through a natural disaster, which I've worked through 8 of them, I was in those in the Tubbs fires up in Northern California. I lived through those. My partner's a fire captain there. His family lost homes. So it's a very incredibly delicate and traumatic thing to go through a natural disaster and to lose your home. And so if I'm a client looking for a builder, I want a couple of things. I think the technology is awesome and it does drive price and speed, but what I want is really high quality work, and I want you to build that home for what you said you were going to build it for and in the time frame you were going to build it for. So speaking to our quality, foundations matter. That's the most important thing that you can start with, is a strong foundation.
So if I can interrupt for a second, can you guarantee me that when you build my home, it's not just going to fall down?
No, I cannot guarantee you that because there's no such thing as a hurricane-proof house or a fire-proof house, but there are hurricane-resistant builds, right? And there's fire-resistant builds. What I can guarantee you is nobody on the island does foundations like we do. In fact, we brought some visuals over there. I'll pass it around.
Cool.
And we do have a bunch of free stuff. Please grab free things before you leave today. But I would say, at the beginning, my team, they over-designed these, if you will, foundations. I shouldn't say they over-designed them, but they are very heavily duty designed foundations.
Are they deeper in the ground? Like, what makes them have? Like, what's the?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're deeper.
Keep that closer. Just keep.
Closer.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, our pilings are designed on average for 20 tons,
Mhm.
and a lot of the other homes that we've seen designed are 8 to 10 tons. There's just a tremendous amount of steel and concrete in our foundations. The hardware that holds the home to the foundation is very robust, much more so. It well exceeds code.
Is there still time for people to call you guys? I mean, are we in what phase do you see Fort Myers Beach in terms of rebuilding? Does everybody already have a contract and ready to go, and they're home, they know they're going to build, or is it?
No.
Can people still call you?
Yeah, of course. Homebound, we always slate to do 40, 50 homes in any given year. We're upwards hitting right around 30, hopefully a little more before the year closes. So we have plenty of room to keep starting people. And our timeframes are excellent. We build within that 9.5, 10.5 month window. You're going to add a little time on there for pre-construction or, going through the city, basically. We can't control that process, but we're right at that year mark. All of our builds have taken off and ended up that time frame. But what I would say is, having been in 8 different disasters, Fort Myers Beach specifically is a little bit slower to recover in comparison to other disasters, but everybody here is still finding their way, finding what works best for them. You guys have a diverse community. Oh, here comes I don't know what that is. The liquid.
Probably just the water.
Much needed.
That's a club soda.
Here, let me help you. Thank you. Yes.
She's crippled today.
So yeah, we have plenty of room for more builds. People can contact us, obviously, going right through our website. Talk to me today. We have QR codes on all of our material. But at the end of the day, back to what you said, what makes us different. We're not a custom builder, so if you need every nook and cranny of your home to be just so, we might not be your fit. But if you want to control pricing and speed and customize a floor plan and pick different ways you use rooms and move things around, that we can be an excellent fit for.
So
And you're building them from the ground up, not
ground up.
Okay.
Yeah.
affordable pricing? Can people afford your homes?
Yeah, I don't think anybody couldn't afford our homes. I mean, I actually should caveat that there is a huge sector of every group, in every natural disaster area that has to go through insurance dollars only. And that can be a stretch for anyone, no matter who you're building with. But the whole point of homebound and natural disaster areas is to bring affordable housing in a more quality and, controlled environment with speed to that.
Yeah. So
what is
go
the
ahead.
average price per square foot?
Yeah.
Is there an average? Is there?
Yeah, of course. So we have 5 different floor plans. So, you would come in and pick a floor plan based on what fits on your lot, based on your bed bath count, the square footage that you want. And there's a base price for each one of those floor plans. And then you customize it. You can add options, add elevators, add fancier countertops. Maybe you don't like the flooring. Maybe you want this to be a loft with a wet bar versus the 4th bedroom, et cetera. So those will, fluctuate your pricing. But, for example, we have a floor plan it could be a 4-bedroom, 3 or 4 bedroom. It's roughly 1,800 square feet, just under. So all in for everything, you're looking right around that $650,000 mark. So that's your foundation. That's lifting the house. That's the build itself, appliances, finishings, fixtures, the whole thing.
Turnkey.
Turnkey. The only thing that price wouldn't include is your demo. Or if you have a pool or want to put a pool in, we don't do those.
What's the average time it's taken to build a house on Fort Myers Beach right now?
10 months for us.
Very nice.
Yeah.
That's fast.
Yeah.
And is there examples of all the different houses that people can see somewhere on a website or?
Definitely. On our website, we have all of our floor plans. You can also talk to me and get 3D walkthroughs. You can also hang out with me and go look inside some of them when I'm on island here.
Mm-hmm. Peter, you want to play along today, or
Sure.
you want to throw it?
Sorry, I
throw
talk a
anything
lot
in?
too.
I'm throwing it out to you.
Okay,
Anything
yeah, no, so-
anything
You gotta
wanna
lead 'em
say
in.
about homebound?
So I'll just say, and Lindsay kind of already touched on it, but we really pride ourselves on maintaining our schedules. We've really, we put a lot of effort into keeping houses on track. We tell clients 10 to 12 months, but really it's been from the time we break ground, it's been closer to that 10-month 10-month mark on all of our builds so far.
Debbie was 9.5, right?
Yeah.
For you guys. Yeah.
So you have a good pipeline of suppliers for materials. That's not an issue. You have.
We do. We have we use some local subs. We also use some of our suppliers have more of a national reach, so that allows us to get better pricing, better supply chain.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's mostly for material too. Like the
Right.
people that are touching your project are these guys. They're Floridians. They're boots on the ground. They live here. They build in Florida. They've built in Florida for years. So
And there's also a banner on our website. If anybody goes to our website to read the stories, you can just click through to their website and see all the information about Homebound there. They have been a sponsor of the show for a long time, just so you all know that. And the other question I had, did you guys have anybody? Oh, come on down. Come on. Square footage.
well, they range. So the smallest one is right around 950 to 1,200 square feet. Then there's a middle guy. Oh, it depends on the floor plan you're choosing. So if you're going to build that small house, for example, that 1,200 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, you're right around 450, all in for everything. Yeah,
Anybody else have any questions about?
450,000, not a square foot. Yeah,
Sir. All stick built.
they are all. The foundations are a mix of
Yeah.
CMU.
So the foundations are, concrete piles. If it's on a piling lot, a VE lot.
Coastal
so
A, yeah.
Yeah.
So then it'll have driven concrete piles, then block columns up to the living level, concrete tie beams, and then the main floors are wood framed.
And stick
On
built.
site.
Stick built doesn't mean
Yeah.
they're going to be built with sticks and then fall down on Estero Boulevard.
No.
That doesn't mean that. Just so everybody knows.
It's not
that.
like the Three Little Pigs.
No. In fact, I should have brought the foam board up here so you could see it on the video. It's an intense foundation. It is
Yeah.
definitely. And I complained about it at the beginning because they were expensive, and my clients were telling me these are too expensive. I pressed the team. They took $30K off of those foundations. So now they're costing what is almost equal in the market out here for a far better foundation.
Sweet.
Yeah.
How can people reach out and get in touch with Homebound?
Well, they can go to your
That's right.
website and click our banner link, or they can go to homebound.com and click into Florida, and they'll
Awesome.
connect with me.
Big hand for Lindsay and Vito, everybody. If you have any questions, they'll be right here to answer your questions, and they have free stuff.
Yeah, please get your free stuff.
Yeah,
Thanks
so-
for having us, you guys.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you guys for coming on. And before we get to John, our final guest of the day, I want to let you know about Eagle Eye Aluminum. Eagle Eye Aluminum specializes in seamless gutters, both aluminum and vinyl soffit, fascia repairs or full replacement. He also does rescreen work and installs entry screen walls. Estimates are totally free and they are encouraged. You can come to Wahoo Willie's most Sundays during the mayor's show and see Tom and his 15th wife. They usually come to the show every Sunday at Wahoo Willie's, or you can call him in his car right now or his fancy camper, 239-340-1639, 239-340-1639. Or email Tom at eagleeyealuminum@gmail.com. eagleeyealuminum@gmail.com. And we appreciate Eagle Eye Aluminum. They're also sponsoring the bike parade, which is coming up in December. Ladies and gentlemen, our final guest of the day is a LPA member, John McLean. Big hand for John, everybody. Thank you for coming on, John.
Thank you very much for having me.
Last time I saw you was 2 days ago.
It was indeed.
Wait, what is today? Friday? Wait, when was the meeting? Monday? I lose track of it.
No, it was the M&P on
Oh, the MNP on Wednesday or Thursday.
Thursday.
John has been attending town council meetings since the last Ali Frazier fight. He's never missed a town council meeting. What got you involved to go to the meetings? Why did you decide you wanted to go to town council meetings?
A little thing called Hurricane Ian.
Okay, it hasn't been.
It all started right after the storm. Like so many people, we lost our house, and I was planning on retiring that November. Anyways, it was already well in the works, and I didn't really know how a town was going to recover from something like this, and I really wanted to get involved and understand just how does a town run? How do you make those decisions? How do you, what's involved in all of it? So I just started going, and it was something that it really grabbed my interest. I was learning a lot, and I decided just go to every council meeting, go to every LPA, and learn as much as I could.
Now, what is your background? Because you said you were getting ready to retire. So what?
So I worked in sales my entire career. technical sales. Some of it in the chemical industry, but for the last 25 years in telecom and data center services, cloud services, things like that, as well as some time doing disaster recovery and business continuity. So I ran that group for a while. And I learned a lot about building in resiliency. So that was part of it too.
Yeah. And so how is your house coming along?
So our house is now 12 feet up in the air.
Brand new build, or did you raise it? Or
we raised our house, and there's a lot that's involved in that.
Yeah.
But we're really happy we did, because it would have flooded 3 times by now.
Wow.
Wow.
So, and now we're working through the final plans in order to submit for permits to do a total remodel.
Mm-hmm. So what was the company you went
So
with
you raised up
to
your
raise
house?
it up? Yeah.
Yeah,
You raised up your existing house, and now you're going to remodel it.
Exactly,
Okay,
exactly. So originally we contracted with this firm called P3, surprisingly.
Yeah.
They're out of Texas. And, you know, they came in and they underestimated what it took to do these types of jobs on Fort Myers. So they actually, they wanted to not do the work. We negotiated our way through it. And it turns out that the company split in two. And the folks that were from Florida that had set this up, they wanted to continue. And they actually are the ones that did our house. And they did a good job.
Okay. And so they were an original advertiser of ours after the storm, which is why I'm saying what you're trying to be is nice that they didn't follow through.
Are they still in the area?
No, so what they did was they kind of left and went back to Texas. There's different codes here. There's different depths. Our pilings had to go down 63 feet.
Wow.
Yeah. So you can tell that's a significant cost that they hadn't accounted for.
So when will you be back in your home?
Oh my goodness, I'm looking at my wife here.
So am I.
We were tracking it by, you know, what is the next big holiday that we'll get back in? And I'm thinking it's maybe Easter.
Wow. Gee, so where do you live?
She's shaking her head no.
Her expectations are probably more accurate than mine.
4th of July.
So we were really, really fortunate. We had built a house just up the street here on Delmar. And it was an Airbnb, and we built it so obviously up in the air, and it came through Ian like a champ. We lost a little piece of siding off of it, and that was it. So as soon as they let us back on the island, we got our power and everything else. We've been living there ever since.
So
that was good. I mean, that was
unbelievable.
Yeah,
we had no idea we were building a backup house.
So Egret is on the canal that has Charlie's at the end. Yes.
No, it's on the canal that has the beach theater at the end. So we're one over from that.
So that's a whole different story that we don't know what's going on. So
we have no idea what's going on there.
So thank you. And so let's get to the LPA stuff. You're on the LPA. You just were reappointed to the LPA. And I wanted to congratulate Scott Safford, who was here a minute ago. He just got reelected to the town council. And first question I have for you is, why did you decide that you wanted to continue on the LPA?
It's just been incredibly rewarding. Number one, I have got so much respect for all of the people, all of the volunteers on that committee. I mean, their backgrounds are so relevant to what we're facing, whether it's background in municipal law, engineering, planning, banking. Obviously, Anita is being previous town mayor and brought this town to incorporation. You know, Jane's just got a wealth of experience here. So just being a part of that group was huge. The types of issues that we're dealing with right now, I think are it's really the meat of the matter is happening right now. And, Dave spoke about balance. And I think that one thing that I'm proud about is the LPA approaches every single project fairly and with a balanced approach. It's not, there's not no development. There's not let them go. It's let's look at every single one that comes ahead of us.
Now, we know we can't ask about specific projects because he's got to vote on them. I see your notes there. You're trying to hide them on me.
No. I
just want to make sure that you know what the rules are. And I told them that we weren't going to do that.
Ahead of them.
Yeah. So the biggest question I think.
Well, I was going to ask.
Go ahead.
Like when the LPA.
I was hoping you were going to participate today because I know you have a concussion from your fall.
No, I just have 2
Loopity-loop.
When the LPA makes a recommendation to the town council and then they do the opposite, what do you make of that? Like how?
Yeah. So we've had 2 of those in a row, right? We had Star Island Beach Club, and then of course we had the big one with Seagate, the Red Coconut, and quite frankly, that's okay because we have vetted the project as to the best that we can do. Right, the 7 members all read through the packet. It's a 508-page packet this time. We all go through it in detail. We all figure out what questions we need to ask. What do we need clarification on? What are we thinking about? What's behind the request? What are the benefits? All of those things. But that doesn't mean we've asked all of the questions. There's new information that comes out, whether it's something that we've overlooked or just information that wasn't really addressed to its fullest. And when that happens and town council takes another bite of that apple, if you will, they can get better insights. Mm-hmm. And I would say that I know for a fact that they all take our input seriously. And they
really?
know, yeah,
do you really feel that way?
I do. I really do.
So the LPA voted down the Seagate project, and you voted for it, and Jim Dunlap voted for it. I think
Correct.
You were the only 2 that voted for it. The
That's
other
right.
4-2, I think somebody was absent.
Yep.
And then the town council voted 4-1 in favor. That's not like adding a fence to somebody's house. That's adding a major project to this island. If anybody in this audience were going to vote yes or no, by round of applause, would you have voted yes? Clap your hands. Or would you have voted no? All right, that's a yes in the audience. So it's so hard to tell. But how can you guys get on the same page?
Well, one of the things we're doing is we're having a joint meeting that's coming up next week. And actually, Jim Dunlap was pretty instrumental in putting together a paper that talked about public benefits and how should we look at them and because we're not all on the same page. All of us think about public benefits in different ways. And the trade-offs between height, which is obviously the elephant in the room, but there's also intensity and density, and there's proper land use and where it is on the island and what's around it and what are the alternate projects that could be done. These things all need to be taken into account. And, we recognize that nobody is really happy about a 17-story building. And myself, I understand that. I've been pretty clear from the start that I'm more concerned about intensity and density than I am about height.
Can you explain for people that might not know what you mean by that? Why does intensity and density concern you when 17 stories doesn't?
Because, well, let's just say 17 stories, and you've heard people talk about the piece of paper being this way or that way, et cetera. That matters. The height of a building and the massing of a building and the amount of area that it takes up, those are trade-offs. And if we make everything squat and short, then we're going to cover all the land in this place. Mm-hmm. And we're not going to have, whether or not you think they're important, we're not going to have view corridors. We're not going to have interesting architecture. We're not going to have public
green
amenities
spaces.
And green space and things like that.
Is roundabout green space?
No. And that was one of the questions that I had. Very much I wanted to know what was going on with that park and what was going to happen with the land behind it. And I got clarification that actually satisfied me for that. Yeah. So, and then when you talk about density, now we're talking about FAR as well. And the intensity is how much use is the land taking, right? And those are the things that tax our infrastructure. Height doesn't tax our infrastructure. It's more of an aesthetic issue. I do understand people that are going to lose some of views if they're in neighborhoods that are perhaps underneath those buildings. I understand that.
Specifically on that.
I would say I just want to no. I want to ask. Ow, my hand. The height does. Would it be fair to say that the height does tax the infrastructure in that you've got to get water, that kind of stuff? You know what I'm saying?
It doesn't really, because you have to deliver water at the ground floor at a certain amount of PSI, and then it's up to the developer to get it up to the however. So it doesn't really. But If you went from, I don't know, say 100 units and you go to 200 units, that's twice the amount of water, sewer, everything else that you're going to need. That's where density, or excuse me, in this case, intensity comes into play. It's much greater tax on our infrastructure.
So I was joking joking about the house that fell down, because Kim and Dapper live in that house that fell down, or well, they don't live in it now because it's
Right.
laying on the ground. But that house will eventually be their home, and they're one of the ones that give a lot of feedback on the building. When you hear from the neighbors in that neighborhood that are going to live next to those buildings, what do you say to them?
You know,
Tough toenails?
no, not at all. It's something that we have to take into account, right? It's the impact. Part of the problem that I actually struggle with, and I think we first saw it with the Moss Marina, their proposal, is there's impact on the direct neighborhood, and then there's impact on the island, right? And our job is to try and ensure that we're not negatively impacting, to a certain extent, as much as possible, the local neighbors. That's making sure that development is done in a consistent manner in the places that it is. Sometimes that's not possible. But the bigger issue is making sure that something is done is really beneficial to the island. So you usually see it the other way, where somebody doesn't want something in their backyard and they're fine with it everywhere else.
Yeah.
You know, it's a balance. It's
Yeah.
hard.
Next week, I'm not asking you to say anything about this project, but I'm bringing it up because I was walking this morning and I went by the Neptune, and I went around the Neptune, and you know, they have a very nice looking, of course, I don't live on the island, so whatever I say doesn't matter, but they have a nice proposal with a restaurant on the beach. But that place is a shithole right now. I mean, that's a dump, and you can walk through and fall in that pool. Somebody can go from the beach to the pool. The fences is down. They haven't picked the fence up since Milton from the backside. It's been an eyesore since Hurricane Ian. I love the continent. I love that company, and I love the neighborhood company, but they have not been good neighbors with that eyesore down there. I mean, it really is not.
But wasn't there something? Didn't they come
It's
on
not
and say
it's not the town's
it
problem
had
to worry
it
about
had
it.
something to do with the banking and their
It's not, but
insurance?
that shouldn't be the town's
That's
problem. The town
not
is
the-
trying to beautify the island, right?
Yeah, well, that happens to be our current beach access at Delmar, right? That's where we go on and off the beach every single day.
Will that play any role in your thinking?
No,
Okay.
no. The fact that it's my beach access,
No.
or the fact that
The
it's
fact that
dilapidated.
the fact that they really have not been a good neighbor.
You know, I will say this: the folks that have been most responsive to all of the town, whether it's the neighbors, whether it's the LPA members, the staff, the ones that are working collaboratively with the stakeholders, those people are going to be trusted. And trust is it's an important thing. It's really important, because no matter what gets approved on this island, it's got to get executed. And it's got to be done in a way that's professional and adds to the value of everybody's life on this island.
Mhm.
And if people are trying to like get one past the goalie, as we say up north, that doesn't go over well, because what it does is it erodes the public's trust in the developer doing the job that they said they were going to do.
Now, when you say adds value to the community, what in your mind, because it is a tough thing to
Yeah.
define. So,
Well, okay, so that's exactly what we're trying to talk about next week, and what we spent some time talking about at the LPA, and actually during the M&P, that's when the council said, yes, we want to talk about this, and this will be the main topic. There's the easy ones, and this is what we started with, right? Number one, public benefits have to be, I think, by definition, public, right? So something that is completely private is not a public benefit. Now, there's the easy ones, which are like parks and beach accesses and things like that, view corridors. Those, I think everybody can agree, depending on how much value they place on them, that can change for everybody, but they're all public benefits. Then you end up with something that I questioned early, and I've actually revised my thinking on it based on what a lot of people have said, and that's commercial entities that may have some public benefit. And for that, we're talking about things like restaurants. And we've all heard restaurants on the south end of the island are going to be something that's have value to different people. But that
also has value to
absolutely,
the person,
absolutely. That's
the
why
developer.
I'm saying that that's at a different class, obviously less value than something that is public access in perpetuity.
So John, just to lay it out here, obviously people on the South End need a restaurant. They want a restaurant.
They're coming.
Yeah, they want. Dave
10.
wants 10 restaurants. Yeah, that's when Santini Plaza opens. I think people will feel less love for a restaurant being developed in a big building.
Well, I think people want.
Can I ask the question?
No, let me just pipe
Ma'am,
in this.
Can I ask the question?
No.
You haven't let me ask a question in the last 5 minutes.
People talked a long time ago about wanting the small mom and pops, which I think is going to be a hard thing for small mom and pop hotels or restaurants. But you want something that's independently owned, but if you're going to go with something that's in a hotel, that's kind of goes against we want mom and pops.
It doesn't. I mean, think about, our favorite place was Pincher's. That was our go-to place, and that was in a restaurant or in a hotel, and there were as many locals there as there were guests at that hotel using those facilities. Thank you, Dave.
But I mean, the small, you're not going to get those small ones.
Calm down.
I mean,
in a hotel.
No, but you know what you do get? There is a benefit to developing a restaurant in a hotel, and that's that you have the guests that can be the basis of making sure that restaurant is successful. And it's open to anybody, so anybody can use it. Look at the restaurants here. My wife and I went to JWB's for my birthday the other day, and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Loved it.
So here, let me throw this at you. So obviously on the South End, you want a restaurant. They need a restaurant. So you get a developer that comes in, whoever it is, says they're going to have a restaurant, and people love it because you're going to get a restaurant. It's going to take 5 years, but you're going to have a restaurant. At least you have something to look forward to. Then a developer on the South End comes in, Moss Marina, for example, is going to have a restaurant. They put a restaurant in their proposal as public benefit.
North End.
Same thing. You're going to give them the same points.
Well, no, that's the whole thing about being location matters, right? Location matters.
But how is that fair to the developer? You've come up with a list of public benefit, and you say a restaurant is public benefit, but only on the South End?
No. I don't think you can do it that way. It's just how do you weight it, right? So I've changed my mind about that very specifically. The Moss Marina project had the boardwalk, which was completely commercial. That would have always, completely been to the benefit of the developer and the retailers and restaurants that be in there. I totally get that. But you and I and everybody in this audience could go and walk that and enjoy it and shop there and everything. So there is some value there. Now, is it as much as a beach access with a restroom on it? No, it's not. But there's value to it.
But do you also understand how we can go down this list of beach access, restrooms? Listen, I if it were me, I'd want restrooms every 50 yards. I mean, just a porta potty is all I care about.
That's been one of the good things about the build is there's so many porta potties.
Yeah, right, for sure. And I can tell you exactly where the cleanest ones are and where the softest toilet paper is too, by the way, all the way down the island. But you get all these different public benefits. On our survey, beach access was the number one by far. Beach access was the number one, but
our biggest resource is the beach. Why wouldn't it be?
I know.
Number one?
So how do you guys really think a joint meeting you're going to be able to come up with something?
Well, I think what we need to do is understand and speak each other our own opinions of what that is, and learn from each other and come to some level of consensus. I'm not saying we all agree, but my thinking has changed on this. It's evolved a little bit, right? Maybe other people are locked in to what they think something is, and that's okay. But we need to at least verbalize it and help the residents understand what we think, and help the developers understand what they should come with, what's important to the community. And right now they're kind of operating with, I hope this is going to fly,
You mean it'll be like have different weights assigned to it depending on the location? Or
well, I see, here's the problem, right? I'm actually a math guy, And I would love to have equations where you could go, oh, you get so much for this, you get so much for that, and everything else.
But you're saying that as if it's all apples and apples.
Well, that's what
It's never going to be apples and apples
I know.
across the island. So how can you come up with
Well,
any kind of list that makes sense?
Well, you can come up with a list. My point was, if you came up with something that was so prescriptive that it would give you a point system, for example, these developers are sharp. They've got so much staff that they would be able to go down and just hit every point to maximize their return on it. And I don't think we want to be there. I think we want to have a level of what's the right word? An evaluation that is not completely prescriptive. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
Balanced.
We have a question from the audience. Come on down. This is what we love. We love to have questions from the audience. And John?
I have a major issue with what your committee is doing. I have a major issue of
Don't
the
get violent.
operations of your committee.
Security. Just kidding.
Yeah. Well, everybody knows I'm a
By the way,
loud
my
mouth.
name's John McClain.
John.
What's yours?
My name's Dee Pilkins,
Dee,
and
thanks.
we live on the beach here, and we've been here for a long time, and very, very long time, family wise. Now, the proposals that you're giving are exceeding your ability as what you're supposed to be doing. The definition from business school, when I went to business school, what you're supposed to be doing is only public benefit. Height dimensions should be coming from the city and not your group. Those public things that you're talking about are taxed, but if a corporation is going to give you beach access, build the beach access, that's where your thoughts need to come into line. Guys are exceeding what they teach.
What's the
schools.
question for John, for the LPA? What's the question?
Why do you think you are the one that should be saying the height of the buildings?
Sorry, can you lift it
the
up?
height
there
of
you
the
go.
buildings rather than that should not even be questioned, you guys.
Okay. The
That's
question
my
is,
statement.
first of all, the LPA, thank you for the
Thank you,
question.
Dee.
The LPA is only a recommending body to the town council. The town council makes the decision. So go ahead.
Yeah, so I can understand your perspective. There are a lot of people that believe that 3 stories over flood is the max and that's all there should be. And they're passionate. You're passionate, obviously, about it. We're not overstepping. We're very clear about this and we've checked this with our legal counsel, etc. We're following the comprehensive code and the comprehensive plan and the land development code, because they both allow. They allow this CPD process, and those are the projects that we're actually evaluating.
There,
By definition, when I went to accounting school at Austin Peay State University and we had to take our law classes, you are exceeding it
but the
per
okay.
corporations. And I'm fearful that you guys are going to get this island sued.
Well, that might be people sue over anything. But
People
the thing
always
is,
have the right to
but-
sue,
but
but we're
just-
following process.
But to
That's
be-
what I'm saying.
and even I always thought the CPD was a backdoor that the town has put in the land development code that the developers could go in and say, okay, you in the land development code and the comprehensive plan, you're allowed 3 over flood or 4 over flood, whatever it is. But if you apply for a comprehensive, whatever it's called, the CPD, you can ask for the moon. Doesn't mean you're going to get it. And that's where the public benefit comes in, where you have to negotiate with the town.
The comprehensive plan is the ruling document, and that covers both by narrative as well as by specific aspects. And then underneath that's the land development code. And within that is a due process whereby developers can request more. It also gives us the guidelines by which we should be evaluating these projects. And at least in my opinion, we are following the due process as well as we possibly can. And it doesn't mean that we're going to have agreement by any means
Right.
at all. But
But
we're going to do our best.
how many members of the LPA plus 5 members of the town council, and everybody's being lobbied in different ways, and everybody has different opinions. I'm not saying the lobbying is wrong.
No, no.
That's the
what
way
I mean.
things
people
work.
People are passionate about this
Yeah.
stuff, and they should be. I mean, we're talking about the future of our island. That's why I got
Yeah.
involved, because I care.
Yeah. Question, dear?
No, I was just going to ask, I just for clarification, when you're you personally looking at a project, then is it fair to say that you get more concerned about density than height?
Yes.
So that if a project were to come before you, if it was more dense,
Meaning
that's
what?
more
Meaning
of a
what? What
concern.
are you afraid of? The
I'm just-
buildings or?
No. It's my issue with density is the increased tax on our infrastructure.
Okay.
That's all it comes down to.
Yeah. By the way, the Seagate could have built a hotel with 500 rooms, which really would have been a different story for the town.
Yeah, I think Matt actually said during the meeting that they wouldn't be interested in that kind of project, but that would be a likely outcome.
By right. You
by
didn't even need to ask for anything. You could build 500 rooms because of the multiplier. I don't want to get in the weeds of all that, but you could build a giant hotel there.
Well, a giant hotel would certainly contribute to our traffic problems.
Yes.
Be
Yeah.
a much greater tax on our infrastructure than.
By the way, I walked from Times Square to the Historical Society, which means I will not be able to walk for the next 2 days because of my age. But
Did you fall down?
I didn't fall.
Okay.
Because I watched where I'm going. Were you on your phone when you fell? Were you looking on your phone? Be honest. Were you looking on your phone?
No, I wasn't. I was listening
Don't believe
to
you.
a book on tape. But let me just, for point of clarification, I think we all remember the time that you were walking during a walk around
Yeah.
and fell and bloodied yourself all up.
But when you do it live on
Over what?
Facebook, it really is
Okay.
much cooler.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
My favorite are those little electric scooters because they've got those wheels that are about 8 inches wide.
Yeah.
Man, you hit a pothole with one of those and you are gone.
I would have been
Bounced
fine if
over.
the town would have repaired the sidewalk. But I mean, of course, that was
Town-
crazy.
the
After
Town.
Town?
it
or
was
the
a side
county?
street. Yeah.
Oh.
So where were we? What were we talking about?
You were
Density?
walking between.
Oh, yeah.
And you can't walk
And
now.
when you walk from Times Square to the Historical Society or down there, it really still looks like there are so many buildings that still need to come down. Like when I look at that Hoosiers building and I'm thinking that owner of that building is not a good neighbor to this town. That building is still there. That should be knocked down. And I know it's on the red tag list and all that, but you've got all these other businesses that were so poised to be open. Then Milton comes through. But I mean, it's still 2+ years later and we're arguing and yelling at each other about height. Nothing's being built commercially. Nothing except for the Whale and the Beach Bar and Santini Plaza, which was already there.
Well, and there was, thank goodness we got the 7-Elevens through. Thank goodness we did the residential for the, the unusual lots that Homebound's been
Yes,
involved in as well. So there's been a lot of really good work to try and get people back on this island and running. These big commercial projects, they take a lot of planning, a lot of effort, a lot of energy.
And they're 5 years away.
And they are. But you need to get started at some point.
Yeah. So in your perfect world, the top 3 public benefits in your mind are?
Beach access, restrooms at beach access, and open space, open public space.
Open public space.
Yeah.
See, I think that this beach has so much beach access right now. Like there's beach accesses everywhere.
Well,
Not on the south end.
I think one of the things we need to really think about too is what is public beach access, right? You could have walkways to the beach and they can be perfect for a neighborhood, but they don't open it up to the general public unless there's parking and there's a way to get to them. And we need some public transport and we need alternate, all of these things, right?
Mhm.
So that makes a difference. That makes a big difference. I also, one of the things we didn't mention, and we did bring it up, and this is going to be a real hot issue for some people, economic development is part of the public interest. We don't have enough economic development going on in this
You got
island
one
right now.
guy clapping for you here.
Yeah, I got some nodding heads, though. I
right,
got some nodding heads.
What you mean bringing money to the beach?
I mean active development that improves the beach, that, yes, brings people back to the beach.
So if any developers are listening, make sure in your proposal you include how much money you're going to bring to the beach, because that's important.
Yeah,
Who did
and
that? Who did? Somebody did that.
that was a request that was made by to Seagate, and
Yeah.
they were so conservative with their numbers. They underrepresented them like crazy. their actual impact on the beach, all said and done by taxes, etc. And I know we only get 6%, but we're also paying for our fire department, and we're paying for our schools, and our mosquito control, and. So it's not just the amount that goes
Correct.
to the beach,
Right.
right?
Glad you pointed that out.
And they would be contributing a heck of a lot in property taxes for those developers.
How do you think the town boat got stolen?
Well, it
You
wasn't me.
waited a long time for that.
I mean, it was.
It
who
didn't
would
get
steal
raffled off at the
No.
Captains for Clean Water
Who
class.
would-
They did it.
Who would steal the town boat? Like, how would you know the gate was unlocked and the hitch was unlocked and
But why would you?
and you know
steal a
it's got
boat with a big
decals on
sign
it?
on
I mean, what
Listen,
is
we
that?
were-
Everybody's got Ring cameras. I mean, there has
Like
to
when
be.
you're planning to steal a boat like that with decals on it, like you have to have the plan in place. Like you have to know that you're taking it to a garage and you're gonna scrape off the decals.
I've never wanted to get inside the mind of criminals because it's just not a place to go to.
I see.
I just know that we had a place on Bokeelia, and after Charlie, there were a lot of boat motors that went missing from people that were like neighbors and stuff. There is so much good on this island. There's so much charity on this island,
Yes,
but you're always going to have some bad actors.
it's crazy. I mean, it's just when I heard that, I thought that was a joke. And then I
Me
called the
too.
sheriff. I called my friend Carmine and I said, "Listen, Carmine, I heard that the boat on the no, we're really friends. We are. I mean, I didn't call him, but he got 91% of the vote when he ran.
That's not surprising.
Yeah. And I called it. Well, I called the PIO and I said, I heard the boat was stolen. They sent me the report, and I was like, this makes no sense. Like, why would somebody do that?
All I know is I lock my storage underneath
Yes.
my house because I've got my generator in there and I don't want it to walk away.
Yes.
Who knows we got a lot
Right.
of contractors on the island. We got a lot of people. And yes, there's a lot of ring cams, thank goodness.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you have to hook that up to a car, and somebody had to see. Wow, look at that! I mean, somebody had to see it, right?
I think the town manager took it. It's in his backyard right now.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure
stop.
Andy's got a boat. He's driving around town on a new boat.
He doesn't live on a canal, I don't think, does he?
No. So the joint meeting is the 13th at 8:30. And your goal of the joint meeting with the town council is to come up with some kind of understanding of public benefit so that you can tell the developers, okay, this is how we're going to grade your public benefits. Right?
Not exactly.
And
exactly.
then that's exactly what they're thinking. I
Well,
don't exactly
hopefully-
know what public benefit is.
Right. And hopefully, I think the real key is for each of the members of council and LPA to express what their views are and see if we can come to some level of consensus. That doesn't mean having a point system, I don't believe. At least that certainly wouldn't be my preference. But in doing so, understand what each of us are thinking and also let the developers as well as the residents
Right.
understand our thinking.
But don't you think the town staff is getting whiplash too? Like the staff don't really know what you want.
Listen, I think the town staff have a unbelievably difficult job.
Yeah.
And I am so thankful of the skills of our planners across the board in the town, quite frankly, but especially the planning group. They have to wrestle with whether something technically meets the evaluation, the
Right.
criteria that they have, right?
Right.
And then they make a recommendation. And then what do? We review it and we make a recommendation, but that doesn't mean that it's binding. Then it goes to council and they actually make the decision.
Wouldn't it be nice if the process was clean from the town to the LPA to the town council because everybody understood the rules?
I think it is pretty clean. I mean, it doesn't mean that we're always in agreement, but I think it's clean. There's a lot of discourse, but there's no argument. And I absolutely respect everybody that's involved in that process.
If there was one person on the LPA that would you like to kick off, who would it be?
What is this? Not Survivor.
That's what I always thought about, trying to do that kind of. Who would you, if we had a Survivor on Fort Myers Beach, you just come
I'd
up with
kick
10
you off.
names. Who would be the
Well,
like? they did that in the radio industry once, and it was like you couldn't not watch it. Every week they kick somebody out of the radio industry. It was hilarious. I'm just kidding. You don't need to answer that.
No. What I want to answer,
If you don't want to.
No, what I want to answer is I personally am pleased to see the incumbents all be reappointed. I think that was the right move, and we kept the chairmanship and the vice chairmanship the same. It's working. It's maybe not as smooth as people would like, but inside the process, it's working, in my opinion.
E-bikes. I need to ask you about e-bikes. Everybody wants to know about e-bikes. There are more people that are interested in e-bikes on this piece than in the election. Should e-bikes be allowed on the sidewalks? Yes or no?
Full disclosure, I don't own an e-bike. I have a regular bike. Yes, they should be allowed because it's not safe to ride your bike on the street. We all know that. We've seen the cars that are either not paying attention or some of them are willfully trying to push people off.
Yeah,
true. We've seen it. So, yes, they should be allowed. I'm a little bit less up for e-bikes on the beach, though. I get it early in the morning when there's no people, like people are out walking and riding and everything. That's awesome. But I ride my bike on the beach all the time. And the number of little kids that are running around straight in and out. And I'm riding, whenever I'm around a kid, I'm riding at like 2 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Because I'm absolutely assuming they're going to jump in front of me. And responsible e-bike riders are not going to be whipping down at 25 miles an hour. But that's the default speed of those things when you crank them. That's fast.
Yeah. I think an education of riding on the sidewalks and maybe some signage and things like that. And people... Majority of people get it. If I'm riding my bike behind a person that's walking, sometimes it does irritate me when there's 3 people that are covering the sidewalk when there's nowhere to go, when they could be walking single file. And then
but I don't want to walk single file when I'm talking with my
I know.
No. Nobody does, right?
That's the only time.
Move over.
Yeah.
But educate. What do you mean educate?
You got to educate people that, okay, we're allowing you to be on the sidewalk, but you have to be pedestrian friendly.
Yeah.
And
But
most
people,
I think we could do that.
most people know that.
Yeah,
though.
most
I don't
people
think
do.
they
Most
need-
people do.
You could do
There's a
some
lot of
things to help.
jackballs out there.
Well, I don't think educating them is going to change their.
This is true. Yeah.
But it might help if you put some lines on the sidewalks that would, let people know that they should stay left or right.
You should just shoot one of them.
Well-
If you shoot one of them and knock them down with I'm not saying with a regular gun. I mean, just
Like
maybe
a
with a
paintball thing?
paintball gun. Hey, jackass, you were going 30 miles an hour. There are people walking.
And guess
Splatter
what?
them on the ground.
And those are the types of things that you cannot regulate.
Right.
But,
Or educate.
But the people that are around that are normal, good, law-abiding,
Right.
positive members of society will go, hey, jackass.
Yeah.
Right.
I like to ride with a whistle, a really loud whistle. This way, when when I'm riding in the bike lane, you want to be able to, because cars don't give a shit. They're too busy on their phones or looking on their phones. And I don't know if you guys saw the video of that truck that was trying to knock that bicyclist off the bike lane. What?
You don't know that.
You cannot participate in any biking conversations, miss. Please. 2 accidents.
I was on the sidewalk for one of those accidents.
Because she thinks that she could go 70 miles an hour and not pay attention.
No, it wasn't a well-maintained sidewalk.
I think. Well, let's be honest.
Not on the beach.
People are riding their
Let's
bikes on the sidewalks anyway.
People are riding on the sidewalks anyways. Let's put some signs up that tell people that they should be going this direction on this sidewalk. That maybe we should put up, a couple of signs to help people that are coming from out of town. Some of the other ideas that came out, we're making sure the bike rental people were letting and educating people that were renting the bikes. That's really good. And let's give it a shot. And hopefully there won't be any problems or there'll be minimal.
Especially,
then we're good.
Shoot for minimal because.
Especially from here to Red Coconut, where it's a suicide on trying to ride your bike.
I mean, I certainly don't ride on the road. I ride on the sidewalk.
So when will you announce that you're running for town council?
Oh my goodness, that is so not in my mind.
When will it be in your mind?
He wants to get in his house first.
Yeah, there's a lot of things like that. I mean, I've only been on the LPA for, what is it now?
John King wasn't on
8
anything.
months?
John King wasn't on anything.
Well, I'm very, very happy to do what I'm doing right now.
I'm just kidding with you. Anything else you want to
add? No, just thanks for everything you two do. Appreciate
thank
it.
you very much, John. John McLean, everybody. On the LPA next week, big meeting for the LPA. They have a lot of projects that are coming up. We didn't ask him specifically about projects, but the Pink Shell is proposing a brand new resort on Estero Boulevard across from their big resort. That's coming up. It's going to be a marathon meeting. What? It's going to be the Neptune. Also is on the LPA agenda next week. So we'll carry that live on our Facebook and YouTube pages. And I want to tell you about our final two sponsors before you go home and watch college football. Is college football today? I stopped watching sports because all my teams really suck. Alex King is one of our sponsors, the Alex King Group. They make dreams come true, Alex King. Yes, he makes dreams come true. That is a positive guy right there. Alex King is one of the most positive people you will ever meet. And they are meeting with builders, design companies, contractors weekly, so you don't have to. They educate you. They say you can live your dream right here in Fort Myers Beach. Give Alex King a call at 239-219-0336. That's 239-219-0336. Thank you to all our guests today. And we will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. at Wahoo Willie's for Sunday brunch with the Vice Mayor. Vice Mayor Jim Adderholt's going to get in the chair and get drilled tomorrow. She said she's going to be mean to him for some reason. So we will see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. at Wahoo Willie's. Thank you all for coming, everybody. Bye-bye.